we are now ready for math for Wednesday, December 2nd. We're going to start with this chart. The page we're going to be doing today is Math Worktext, page 139 and 140, which is the page that is like the test. But I am not going to do math reviews, page 137, 138, which is also like the test, because I'm going to save it for Monday, December 7th for homework, the night before the test. Okay? And you will do it then. So you will find that you don't have it. What you do have is page 139, 140 of the reviews. Okay? Which is a cumulative review page. It's the page you would normally do after you finish taking your test. Right? But I'm going to go ahead and have you do that today. Right? And I will probably do the front with you because it's got a few things on there that I just want to remind you about. But the back you'll do on your own. Alright, so let's do the time measurement chart. 1/4 hour equals 15 minutes. 1/2 hour equals 30 minutes. 1 hour equals 60 minutes. And I'm going to show you that again on the clock. Alright, so remember the minute hand going around. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. So there are 60 minutes in 1 hour. Alright, then we talked about dividing the clock in half. So that means there's 30 minutes in half of an hour. Oh, let's go this way. Half of an hour, 30 minutes. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Then we talked about dividing the clock into quarters, which is fourths. Alright, so 4 pieces. Okay, divide it down and across. So going back up to the top, each quarter, 5, 10, 15. 5, 10, 15. 5, 10, 15. 5, 10, 15. Every quarter is another 15 minutes. 15, 30, 45, 60, which is where o'clock is. Right? So that's how you get those. Okay? Then we have 1 day equals 24 hours. And again, looking at the clock, 12 hours on the clock, but it does it twice. Remember, AM and PM. So 12 and 12 is 24 hours in a day. All right, 1 week equals 7 days. Say the days of the week. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. That's 7. All right, 1 month equals 28 to 31 days. All right, 28, the only one that has 28 is February, except in leap year when it has 29. All the rest have 30 or 31. All right, you won't need to know this for the test, but I'm going to give you a little secret. Okay, I used to do the knuckle one, but then one year I had a student who didn't have very pronounced knuckles, so it was really hard for him to do it. So I do the finger thing now. So this is what we do. January, so if it's high, it's 31. February doesn't have either. It's 28 or 29. March has 31. April, that's 30. May, 31. June is 30. July, 31. And then you stay here for August. August also has 31, then go back the other way. September is 30. October, 31. November is 30. And December is 31. So anytime you're high, you're saying 31 days. So January is 31. February is not even 30. It's 28 or 29. March is 31. April is 30. May is 31. June is 30. July is 31. Stay here for August, 31. Then go back the other way. September is 30. October, 31. November 30. And December 31. Alright, so that's just a little trick so you can know how many days are in each month. But you won't have to know that for the test, so don't worry about that. Then we have 1 year equals 12 months. Well, if you can't remember that, then just say the months. January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. There you have 12. Alright, 1 year equals about 52 weeks. 1 year equals 365 days. And 1 leap year equals 366 days. Alright, let's look at our paper, and I am going to do this with you. Normally you would do this on your own, and I would collect them, and I would check them, and return them to you to put in your math folder. But we can't do that with distance learning. So you're going to be doing it with me. You still will put it in your math folder, and you still need to use it to do the test by, but as long as you're paying attention, then you will know what we're doing here. All right, so let's grab my clock, and I'm going to put the clock to this first time. First clock looks like this. All right, shorthand first. Yes, this is the shorthand, so it's just past the 12. All right, 12. Longhand is past the 7, but not quite to the 8, so 7 times 5 is 35. So 36, 37, 38, 39. So it is 12:39. Now, is 39 more than 30? Yes, it is. So this is one where we're going to count backwards. So you go up here and count backwards. 5, 10, 15, 20, then just 21. So it is 21 minutes before the next hour. Well, if it's 12, what is the next hour? Please don't say 13. That's only in military time. The next hour is going to be 1. So you're going to say 21 minutes before 1. 21 minutes before 1. Because after 12 o'clock, it is 1 o'clock. All right? The next one looks like this. All right? So shorthand first. So shorthand just past the 5. So the hour is 5. And looking at the minute hand, the long hand by 5s, it just passed the 3. So 5, 10, 15. But then we count one more, which is 16. So it is 5:16. Your minutes are 16. Now, is 16 less than 30? Yes, it is. So what are we going to do? We are going to switch. It was 5:16. Now we're going to switch it and say 16 minutes after 5. 16 minutes after 5. Just switch the two places for the numbers. All right? The next one looks like this. You know what? I think I've messed my clock up a little bit. So let me fix that. All right, looks like this. All right, shorthand first. Shorthand is past the 10, not to the 11 yet, so the hour is 10. Longhand by 5s, okay, it's past the 6, not to the 7 yet, so 6 times 5 is 30, then 31, 32, so it is 10:32. The hour is 10, the minutes is 32. Is 32 more than 30? Yes, it is. So what do we have to do? Count backwards. So go up to the 12, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. We're not going to go to 30. So 25, 26, 27, 28. 28 minutes before the next hour. What's the next hour going to be? It was 10. The next hour is going to be 11. So 28 minutes before 11. All right? Now, when you count this off, you should use your pencil tip, not your finger, because your finger is too fat and it's hard to point to precisely when you're counting off, okay? Especially when you get to where you're counting by ones. So if you use your pencil tip to count off, so you use your pencil tip to say 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 26, 27, 28, because otherwise it's hard to keep track, especially when you start counting by ones. And you should be trying to use your clock on your paper, so because that's what you'll have to use on the test. All right, let's move into the next section where we're going to be doing quarter after, quarter to, and half past. All right, so the first one looks like this. All right, so shorthand first, it's just past the 6. So the hour is 6. Longhand, your minute hand, is right on the 3. Okay, right on the 3. So 3 is 15. 5, 10, 15. So it is 6:15. Now you have to decide. You know, since this is only a quarter of the clock, not half of the clock, Since this is only a quarter of the clock, if you divide the clock into fourths, 1/4 of the clock, 15 is quarter. So it's got to be either 1/4 or quarter after. So is it almost the next hour? That would be 1/4, or is it just after the hour? Here's the o'clock. It's just after. So this would be quarter after. Quarter after what? Quarter after 6. It was 6 o'clock. Now it's a quarter after 6. Okay? Quarter after. And you do have to write quarter after 6. Do not just write the words quarter after. That would be losing points on the test. If you just write quarter after, you have to say quarter after 6, because 6:15 means quarter after 6. It doesn't just mean quarter after. The 15 tells you to use quarter after, but the 6 tells you quarter after 6. So make sure you put that. All right, the next one looks like this. So start with our hour. Our shorthand is our hour. Shorthand first. It's just after the 2. So put 2 for your hour. All right. Longhand is pointing straight down. So remember, that's cutting the clock in half. From 12 o'clock to 6 is cutting it in half. Minute hand at the 6 means 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So it is 2:30. 30 is half of an hour, right? 1/2 hour equals 30 minutes. So when you see it pointing at 30, you know it is half past. And 30 is not more than 30, so you're going to stay at the same hour. 1/2 past 2. Okay? So for quarter after, which was less than 30, and for 30, 30 is not more than 30, so that's staying at the same hour. Both of those stay at the same hour. It's got to be more than 30 to go to the next hour. All right, so 2:30 or 1/2 past 2. Again, don't forget to put that 2. You can't just write 1/2 past. You have to put the 2. 1/2 past 2. It was 2 o'clock, and now it's half of the clock past 2. Half an hour past 2. All right, the next one looks like this. All right, shorthand first. That's your hour hand. Your shorthand is your hour hand. It's almost to the 12, but not quite. All right, and again, look at where that minute hand is. So since it's not really to the 12, the hour is 11. So put 11 for your hour. And then remember, this is dividing the clock into quarters. We're working in this last quarter where it is going to o'clock again. So that means it's a 1/4. It's not a quarter after the o'clock, it's a 1/4 the o'clock. It's going to o'clock. It's going T-O-2, not T-W-O. Some of you were misunderstanding me the other day. 1/4. It's going toward o'clock again. 1/4 o'clock. Not 2, but T-O-2. 1/4. All right? So it's almost o'clock. That's why it almost looks like it is the next hour already. Whoops. A 1/4. 1/4 what? What's the next hour? 12. It was 11:45. Did I ever do that part? I think I forgot to do that part. All right, so the minute hand is straight at the 9. So that is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. So it is 11:45. Or a 1/4 and a 1/4, make sure you're putting T-O-2, not the number 2. 1/4. All right, that's the last one of those. All right, now that brings us to a section on your paper that I've told you have to know. You have a paper in your math folder of measurements. The top section is the time measurements that you need to know for this test. So if you do not know these, then you need to make sure you study these. All right, the first one says 1 day equals how many hours? All right, I'm giving you hints for this. I said, look at the clock. How many hours on the clock? You have clocks on your paper right now, so look at it. 12 hours on the clock, but it goes around AM and PM. So 12 and 12 is 24. One day equals 24 hours. Going across. 1 year equals how many months? Count them all. January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. That was 12. Get it memorized, but if you don't know it, then count the months off. All right, 7 days equals blank week. That one they sort of trying to be tricky, aren't they? Because they're giving you the 7 days. 7 days equals 1 week. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. 7 days, that is 1 week. So you're having to put the 1 this time. All right, 1 hour equals how many minutes? Again, you can just count around all the way to the 12. 12 times 5 is 60. If you don't know that, then just count by 5s all the way around the clock, because a minute hand would travel all the way around the clock in an hour. So you can count off those minutes. 60 minutes. 1 hour equals 60 minutes. All right, what about 1/2 hour? All right, remember half of the hour would be down to the 6. So count around till you get to the 6, just half of the clock. 5 times 6 is 30. So 1/2 hour equals 30 minutes. Very good. Then one more. 1 year equals how many days? Did you say 365? 300 is where it starts, not 100 anything. 365. 365 days in a year. 366 would have been leap year if you said that. That's a leap year. They're not asking for leap year. They're asking for a normal year. 365. 1 year equals 365 days. Okay. Next thing you need to do is number the months in order. By the way, there are the months right there to count. What's the first month? January. So put a number 1 there. Let's say them slowly so you can find them and put the numbers. What would be number 2? January, February. All right, so put a number 2 by February. January, February, March. Number 3 is going to be March. January, February, March. April is number 4. They already have that one for you. After April would be May. January, February, March, April, May. Next would be June. January, February, March, April, May, June. So number 6 goes by June. Then July. January, February, March, April, May, June, July. July would be number 7. Then August. August would be number 8. January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August. September is number 9, and they've done that one for you. After September would be October. January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. So October is number 10, November is number 11, and now we're at the last month, which is December, number 12, and that's where we are. All right, now turn your paper over as soon as you finish numbering those. On the back, you see 2 calendars. You see February and you see March. Now, February and March, but there is no year. But if they ask for a date, you must put the month and the day, the number day. You don't have to put a year because it didn't give you one. It says today is March 8th. What will the date in 2 weeks? What will be the date in 2 weeks? So everybody look at the March calendar. Make sure you're looking at the March one, not the February one. I've had people get this wrong on the test just because they looked at the wrong month, even though the problem told them to look at March. So make sure you're looking at March. March 8th is on a Tuesday. And it said, what will the date be in 2 weeks? So remember, you're going to drop down to the next box underneath the 8, and you see the 15th. Then you drop down one more box because that's going to be 2 weeks later. 1 week later would be the 15th, and 2 weeks later would be the 22nd. So dropping straight down, staying underneath Tuesday, the 8th to the 15th is 1 week. The 15th to the 22nd is 2 weeks. So what is the date? March 22nd. So make sure you write March. You have to write March. If you just put 22, that's not a date. March 22nd. That's what you have to put. All right, the next thing says, on what day of the week is February 14th? So now you need to make sure you look back at the February calendar. Look at the February calendar, look at the 14th, and go straight up above the 14th, and you see a M. So that means it is Monday. So you need to write the word Monday. They're not asking for a date, they're asking for the day of the week. So that would be Monday. The February 14th is on a Monday. All right, the next one says, what is the date of the 5th Wednesday in March? So again, now make sure you go back to the March calendar, go to the W for Wednesday, and then count down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, down to the 5th Wednesday. The first Wednesday was the 2nd. The second Wednesday was the 9th. The third Wednesday was the 16th. The fourth Wednesday was the 23rd. And the fifth Wednesday is the 30th. Are you just going to write 30? No. You need to write the date. What is the date? So you put March 30th. March 30th. Make sure you put March. All right, now they're asking another question about February. So go back to the February calendar, and they're asking you how many days are in February. So look at that last number. It says 28. So you're just going to say 28 days. You need to put a label of days. They say how many days? So you put a label of days. 28 days. And this is what I would expect on the test. Labels and dates, complete dates. All right. The next section on your test would be about elapsed time. So this section says Andy's Monday afternoon. So Andy's Monday afternoon starts with soccer practice. And it goes from 2:45 to 3:30. And then his violin practice goes from 4 o'clock to 4:25. Free time, 4:25 to 5:25. Supper, 5:30, 6 o'clock. And homework, 6:05 to 7 o'clock. The first thing they ask you about is how long does Andy practice violin? So you need to look over at the chart, find violin practice. It says 4 o'clock to 4:25. All right, so that's an easy one because the hour stays the same, but the minutes goes from 0 to 25. So if you go from 0 to 25, that is 25 minutes. Very good. So you just say whatever the minutes is. Since the minute started at 0, if it goes to a certain number, as long as your hour stays the same. 4 o'clock to 4:25, the hour stayed at 4. So 0 to 25 is an easy one. You just put the number that you see for the second time, 25 minutes. Make sure you write the word minutes carefully. If you do not know how to write the word minutes, then look back at the front of your paper. I would expect it to be spelled correctly since all you have to do is look back on the front of your paper to find the word minutes. The word minutes is on the front of your paper several times. All right. Next question asks, how long does Andy do homework? All right. Now this is a little bit of a trickier one. It says homework goes from 6:05 to 7 o'clock. Now, if it starts at 6:05, for it to be 1 hour, it would have to go to 7:05, right? The same minutes. 6:05 to 7:05 is an hour, right? It's not an hour, is it? Because it says from 6:05 to 7 o'clock, not to 7:05. So it's not a full hour. So it's going to be some minutes. So you can use your little clock. I'm going to set this one for 6:05. All right, there is 6:05. And we didn't make it to go to 7 o'clock. So you can set yours at 6:05, and for it to get to 7 o'clock, this minute hand is going to have to go all the way around to o'clock, right? Because it is at 6. So as it gets to o'clock, it's going to turn to 7, right? Now, since you can't move yours the same way as I want you to have one finger here and then I want you to have the other finger here, and then you're going to move this hand around to meet until you see how many minutes it takes to get from 6:05 up to 7 o'clock. Okay? I will show you that it gets to 7 o'clock if you do it. From 6:05, when you take it all the way around to o'clock, that is 7 o'clock. But you set your clock for 6:05, and then just count from this hand till you get to this hand. You have to go this direction clockwise. So it is here 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55 minutes for it to get up here to o'clock. All right? So how long did it take for him to do his homework? 55 minutes. Let's do that again. It was 6:05, and this minute hand needs to go all the way around until it gets up to o'clock. So have one finger at your 6:05 and have one finger at your o'clock, and then count it off. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55. That's why you know it took 55 minutes for him to do his homework. So go ahead and write 55 minutes there. All right. Then one more says, how long does Andy eat supper? And it says supper is from 5:30 to 6 o'clock. All right. Some of you probably already know this one right away, 5:30 to 6 o'clock. But for those of you that have more difficulty with seeing these things, here is 5:30. And again, we need to go from 30 to o'clock, right? So watch, it's at 5:30. If I take it up to o'clock, then it is at 6 o'clock. All right, but your clock doesn't work quite the same way, so have the one finger at the minute hand for 30, have your other finger up here at o'clock, all right, and then count it off. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15, 20, 25, 30, all right? Some of you visualized it was half the clock. Going from 30 to o'clock is half the clock, so you would realize that that's 30 minutes, right? But if you don't, that's how you would count it off. But going from the 6 to the 12 o'clock, the o'clock section would be half the clock or half an hour or 30 minutes. You could even write half hour, that he had supper for half hour, or you can write 30 minutes. All right, one more section on your paper. At the bottom, they're talking about AM or PM. All right, so let's talk again before we start this section. Midnight is when what starts? AM. 12 o'clock midnight is AM. 12 o'clock noon is when PM starts. So the new day starts at 12 o'clock AM. So the first one shows a girl walking her dog. All right, so if midnight, 12 o'clock midnight is AM, then after 12 o'clock midnight would be 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock AM. That's at morning when you're still sleeping, before you've even gotten out of bed. That looks pretty sunny to me, so it must be the 3 o'clock that comes after the noon time, which is now PM. So that would be 3 o'clock PM, correct? All right. The next one shows a boy flying a kite. All right. Now this one tricks people up sometimes because they forget about AM and PM. 11 after 11 is going to be 12. So if this is 11 AM, then after 11 AM is the 12 PM, which is noon. And if it's 11 p.m., then after 11 p.m. is going to be 12 a.m., which is midnight. So 11 p.m. is past morning and it's almost the next morning. The new morning after 11 is 12. So 11 p.m., the next thing that's going to come is 12 a.m. or midnight. So definitely this one has to be 11 a.m. at morning, because you're not going to be flying a kite in the sunshine if it's 11 p.m. and the next thing that's coming is 12 midnight or a.m., right? All right, so don't let that one trick you. All right, one more And in this last picture, you see someone sleeping. It almost looks like they're sleeping in a sleeping bag, but they're sleeping. So the hour for that would be noon or midnight. Hopefully it's midnight. Hopefully you're not sleeping at 12 noon. But it's dark, so let's go with midnight. Sleeping at 12 midnight. Alright, so this paper would be very like the test. I hope you were following along as I did it. Alright, let's go on to the cumulative review paper, which is normally the paper you would do after you take the test. But since I want to save 137, 138 for a homework paper right before you do the test. Alright, we're going to do a tally chart. Alright, your tally chart is about an insect hunt. Third grade class went on an insect hunt. They made a tally chart to record their observations. So, the first place they found them was the pond. Now remember, when you see tally marks and you have one that crosses them, that is 5 tally marks because there's 4 sticks straight up, and then the one that crosses them is your 5th. So you can count those that have a mark across them as 5. So count by 5s. 5, 10, 15, and one more makes 16. Very good. All right. How many were found in short grass? So you see one with a cross, so that's 5, and then count the ones. 6, 7, 8. So put an 8 at the end of that row where it says total. In the tall grass, 5, 10, 11, 12. So 12. And in the trees, there's not even a mark going across, so just count them, and you see that there are 4. Very good. So put a 4. Now, the next thing you're going to do is a pictograph, and you know I prefer these to be done in colored pencil, so hopefully you have your colored pencils with you. If you don't, then maybe you have colored pencils at home. Do not use crayon, though. If you cannot find a colored pencil, just go ahead and use regular pencil, but try to find colored pencils. Alright, so at the bottom there is a key that says that 1 little insect equals 2. So that means for every insect you're counting by 2s. Now you're going to go back up and use your tally chart. So at the pond, you were doing 16. To find out how many insects you need to draw, you need to say 16 divided by 2. Alright? Because for every insect you draw, it's worth 2 insects. So what is 16 divided by 2? Let's count it off. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. Alright, so how many insects do we need to draw? 8. Now, these are not really that hard to draw. I'm going to show you an easy way to do it. Alright, so first you just draw a little circle, then you draw a little half crescent on top of that circle, put little antenna coming out of that, and then do 3 legs on each side. Now, you need to think about the size you're going to make them. Maybe I need to do that a little bigger. I just realized I did not show. You cannot do them real big because you have to do 8 of them. I just realized you probably can't see that too well. So, draw a circle. Then do a little crescent at the top, then do a little antenna sticking out, and then do 3 legs on each side. So that's not that hard to do this. Alright, please do not get too sloppy on me. You have to do 8 insects in that first row to represent 16, counting by 2s, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. Alright, if you need to pause the video while you do 8, do so, but I'm going to go on because you can also pause me and then start me up again. The next one was short grass. How many were in short grass? 8. So 8 divided by 2, 2, 4, 6, 8. So this time you only need to draw 4 because counting by 4s, 2, 4, 6, 8, 4 insects would equal 8 because each insect is 2. Okay? Then in the tall grass there were 12. Alright, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. This time you're going to do 6. Because 6 insects. 6 times 2 is 12. 12 divided by 2 is 6. 6 insects represents 12 insects because each insect is 2. Last one is the trees, where there were 4, 2, 4, just 2. All right, so that's what you're going to do for that. Now, then they just ask you some questions. Where were the most insects found? So the biggest number was the pond. Yes, very good. Where were the fewest insects found? The smallest number was trees. Good. And then how many insects were found? This time you can just count all your insects as long as you put the right amount in each one. Count them by 2s. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36, 38, 40. Or you could go back up to the other section where it says total and just add them up. Either one will get you that answer. All right, the back you're going to do on your own. It is adding with renaming, subtracting with renaming, greater than, less than, or equal to. Remember, if it is an expanded form, you have to change it to standard form. Then changing numbers or putting numbers in order from least to greatest, not changing them, putting them in order from least to greatest. And then a story problem. There were 1,297 visitors to the art show on Monday and 2,107 visitors on Tuesday. So how many visitors were there on those 2 days? So you are adding those 2 days together, and don't forget your label. It says how many visitors, so your label would be visitors. All right, see for language and penmanship.